there's more to this posse concept that meets the eye. You got politics, you got everything else involved. So that's my the Fountain Hills and Sun Lakes. I remember he'll talk about it. The commander. We sent out 200 posse members to not invade Sun Lakes, but they were complaining about crime and everything else. We just blitzed that area. We can mobilize 1,000 posse people if I want to. So that's another big advantage of the posse. I can send them out and blitz an area. Local law enforcement doesn't have the manpower that we do with the posse.
Joe, I'm going to introduce a couple of your posse members. The Lieutenant Commander Mitch Ficus from Fountain Hills Posse. Good to have you here, Mitch.
Thank you.
And you were just talking about patrolling around the sheriff's office or sheriff's residence in that area and so forth.
Yeah, we have a regular patrol schedule in Fountain Hills that we put out every month. In fact, I put it out. And we schedule the posse men to do certain areas depending on whether they're armed or not. We happen to have 17 of 30 armed in Fountain Hills, and we'll have 2 or 3 more here within the next couple months.
Now, is that a high incidence of armed posse for the amount of posse members you have?
I think it is. We're pretty high on having them armed. Most of the people that join our posse want to join it and be armed. And we do a lot of real police work in the Fountain Hills area and the surrounding communities. They'll send us out depending on what's going on. The different beats, the different officers will need assistance for clearing homes, or there's Goldfield ranches building up out there now. So we got a lot of area to cover, but yeah, every posseman is instructed when they log on. They have to go out and do the Rio Verde, Tono Verde area, but the first thing they do is patrol the sheriff's house, and they do that periodically, probably hour on the hour during the evening and nighttime hours.
Well, now on the armament of the posse member, that's quite a routine to go through, isn't it?
Yeah, I think total it's like 140 hours total once you're through the whole thing, and there's sworn officers classes and other classes that you can attend depending on how far you want to go. The more you do, the more the deputy sheriff out there is going to trust you, and the more he'll depend on you to do things. They'll give us our own calls and sometimes have us do traffic stops depending on the circumstances and if they're busy. But yeah, we seem to do a lot more real police work in that area in District 1.
Well, now, do you buy your own weapon?
Yes, we buy everything.
What's the choice of weapons out there, basically?
There's a variety of weapons. A lot of guys like the new Kimbers, the 1911s. The Glock is real popular. It's a real belt-safe weapon. It's just, it's not clumsy or complicated at all. So I think the majority of them are carrying those, and 40 caliber, 9mm. I carry 45. I happen to like the bigger. We have several guys that carry those. But yeah, we go through the same firearms academy that the deputies have to go through to be on the street with us.
Is that the old military 45 that you have?
I carry the Glock, but several of the guys carry the 1911 type guns, but they're more state-of-the-art, like the Kimbers. They're just really state-of-the-art weaponry now. But yeah, it's the same design of the 1911 military gun.
Okay. Well, now our other guest we're glad to have here today is Don Malloy. And we're glad to have you from Sun Lakes, right? Well, we want to talk about the sheriff went out there a few years ago with a couple hundred members or something, and more or less, he didn't take over Sun Lakes, but he was out there for quite a while, right? Tell us about that.
Well, we've had a problem out there for years with car thefts. And several of the people who live out there got pretty upset about it, and got a hold of the sheriff, and the sheriff said, well, I'll send my posse out there. And he did. He came out with the helicopters and the command post cars and such as that, and there was probably at least 100 posse people out there at the beginning, maybe 200, and then it went on for a whole month. And they manned the van out there all the time, and there were several incidents where they stopped a lot of crime in progress out there. And eventually the word got around that, and so it kind of laid low. But other than that, they did a lot of traffic stops, caught a lot of people on warrants and things like that were going through our community. And so it really worked out real well.
What made that part of town, or that part of Maricopa County, such a draw for stealing cars?
Well, we're out in the far southwest corner, right to the end of the county there. and we're adjacent to Chandler and the Indian Reservation. And Chandler gets hit pretty hard also. We figured out every vehicle that we have stolen, they have 5 to 7 that were stolen. A lot of them end up back in Sun Lakes. They use them for transportation back and forth. And so it really put a crimp in that theft for quite a while.
Well, now, are these the professional car stealers? Could they come in and take a car within seconds?
They're not professional, but they can get away with a car in about 10 seconds.
They can.
We've run onto some of these youngsters as young as 7 years old.
Really?
7 years old, 13, 14, 15, and when they reach 18, they usually bring it on down to the other kids, because when they're 18, they're subject to a hard time with the state.
Okay, now this took place a few years ago, right?
About 2 years ago.
And since then, has the crime and the car stealing gone down considerably?
Well, we've never had much in the way of criminal activity, except for our car theft is usually the worst problem. It calmed down for quite a while. It's starting to pick up again. The last of last year, we had a not a car theft, but golf cart theft. And in less than a week, they stole 27 of them. And they ran them out to the reservation, wrecked a lot of them.
Yeah.
But that was an isolated incident. They caught the ringleaders of that. They're in jail. We haven't had any problem with that since. As a matter of fact, before I left the office, I had a couple of deputies out there that were taking a report on a couple attempted theft and one theft that was they did get a Crown Victoria last night in one of our areas.
Well, now, how many posse members do you have out there?
We have a little over 30, same as Fountain Hills.
How do you divide up the shifts for that then? The day and night equally, or?
Yeah, we have day and night patrols, and our members are pretty much free to take whatever shift they want, but it all kind of averages out. And so we're able to keep people out there 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then sometimes when there's an extra problem we have to solve, some of the folks will go out there and do the whole night.
Well, now, having only 30 members, does that put quite a pressure on those particular members as far as patrolling?
No, I wouldn't say it puts pressure on them. They're all there for, to serve the community.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm talking about the hours worked.
Well, we have a rule policy with our posse that a minimum of 20 hours a month, which isn't much. We still have some folks that work for a living, and so that's a policy that we usually run pretty tight. And some of the fellas will go out maybe 2 or 3 times a week when there's a void in the patrol hours. Now this summer, as a lot of the other posses, the people go off on vacation. And we also have people that are winter visitors, and we have a lot of those that help us out during the winter months, which we're a lot more busy. So
but you don't have a rule that they have to be there 10 months out of the year.
No, we don't. And it seems for us, it seems to work out real well.
Okay. Well, now, Mitch, in your case out there, you have how many members? About 30?
About 30 right now.
Does that put a lot of pressure on your members in your area down there around Fountain Hills?
Actually, like 2/3 of our members do still work for a living. So yeah, we kind of got to work around everybody's schedules, but we do have AM and PM shifts. On Friday and Saturday night, we get pretty good guys out that we do anywhere from 12 to 14-hour shifts. We're out all night long. Those are the busier nights of the week. But yeah, it works out pretty well for the guys. We have forms we have them fill out and what hours is good for them, and we try to schedule them in the days they want to be in, and we try to run them every other week on stuff so they have some free time for their families and their jobs and stuff. But yeah, it actually has worked out really well. We really haven't had any complications come up as far as scheduling goes.
Now, do you have a rule out there for winter birds and so forth, or so-called?
No, but the type of training that most of our members go through, they pretty much got to be there year-long, because it takes about a year now to get completely through an academy, and a majority of the members that come through do want to be armed. It takes 9 months to a year, depending on how many instructors they got, how many classes they can schedule and stuff like that is the only thing it takes so long to get that done. But like I say, it's the same as what the deputies go through, plus we do the shotgun. We have our own shotguns we carry. We have 5 patrol cars. We have our own substation, our own garage in Fountain Hills that we work off our own budget. it basically is its own department, but the deputies out there seem to depend on us. The guys that have been out there for some years now. They know the guys that have been out there long term, like myself and some of the others, and they depend on us a lot. What nights they need us, and when we log on, they ask us how long we're going to be there. As long as the sergeant needs us, you know, we'll be
12
out.
to 14 hours is a long shift, though.
Yeah, it is. But when you're busy and you're doing something good for the community, and we know the sheriff appreciates us being in Fountain Hills, and it doesn't really take any energy to do it. We enjoy being out there.
We don't pay overtime. I don't care if it's 20 hours. I mean, my deputies, I got to pay over. These guys, they do it for nothing. By the way, you were talking about checking my house. I don't have bodyguards. It would cost $1 million to have regular deputies sit in front of my house and follow me around for 14, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's nice for the posse. They're doing it free. So once again, I don't have to tie up my deputies watching my house. So they come by once in a while. My wife is there, waves to them. She feels safe. Get all these threats on me. I mean, I just had another one last month, called my house, threatened to kill me, and we busted him. But we get most of them, but there's many out there we don't know about. So it's nice to see the uniform. And my deputies are right down the street. I can see the station from my house. So it's good to have that, although I don't give any favoritism towards the posse or deputies in that town, really. Psychologically, I pay more attention to it because I'm there. But it's a great concept. Sun Lakes, I'm actually 50% are armed, and it's not easy. They have to go through our pistol range, same as the deputies, and that's a high percentage of that Fountain Hills. And let me tell you this, they're not all retired. When you talk about Sun Lake, Sun City West, you have a lot of retired people that have all the time, but I don't know, you must work too, I guess.
Yeah, I have a full-time job. Like I say, so, 2/3 of our members work.
Two-thirds of them?
Two-thirds
of that 30.
Yep.
Think of that.
Yeah,
and they have to work, and then they're also protecting the public out there.
Well, that's a lot of work hours that go into it then, right?
Yeah, we put a lot of hours in it. I had, I think, like 568 hours last year. I've gotten probably over 300 hours already this year.
Is that?
We had Sholo last year also. We put a lot of time in up Sholo. I think we had 9 of our members went to Sholo and put a lot of time in. I know we had one guy had close to 190 hours up there that he had.
Well, now, what do you do up at Sholo?
When the fire was on.
For the fire, yeah.
See, nobody understands this. I couldn't get any coverage, not that I was trying to. I think the public should understand. When the sheriff called me up there when this first started, he asked for the deputies. We sent 400 deputies, but we had 800 posse, including your and yours. 800 I mobilized to go up there. Think of that. 800 went up there to help do the security during that fire.
Yeah, it was men and equipment also.
That was quite a problem of getting feeding and so forth like that, right?
Yeah, but see what we can do. We can surround the Fountain Hills if they keep stealing cars or playing around there. We'll just put 1,000 posse people. Now you have a Glock and all that. I don't think I'm going to use a 50 caliber machine gun. However, it's there for insurance purposes if we ever need it. So we have a lot of resources. So it's really exciting to volunteer for us. And it's free, and I just wish the public really supports it, because you get a lot of donations that keep you going. They love the mall program. We send the posse out every year from the mall. The public loves that program. It's been very successful.
Now, what mall do you cover up there at Fountain Hills?
We cover Fashion Square in Scottsdale.
Okay.
Yeah, Fountain Hills doesn't have a mall itself.
And so that's what you do on Christmas only?
On Christmas only, yeah. The month of December we do, well actually it starts in November, I think it's like the weekend after Thanksgiving. We start doing the mall patrols at Fashion Square.
And it lasts about a month or so?
Yeah, I think till December 26th is when we cut it off.
Have you had any stories on your mall patrol about shoppers being accosted out in the parking lot or anything?
No, it actually gets pretty good. We actually do more of cleaning up warrants and stuff for any crime that we find going on out there. We have enough people there. Usually when they run warrants on them, they'll find something. We can clear some warrants that way, or the shoplifters. But as far as any violence and assaults or anything like that, no, it doesn't happen anymore.
They do many other duties. For example, at the art fair, we saved the Chamber of Commerce, $12,000.
Yeah,
that
we
they
had
paid for before because
we
he
had
sent those
14
back
posse
there.
members out doing the Great Fair in Fountain Hills last time it was out.
And that's an art fair, you say?
Yeah, it's an arts and crafts festival.
Mm-hmm. What time of year is that?
They have it twice a year. I think they have it in like November, and then they have it again in March or February.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well in Sun Lakes you have similar problems out there, right?
Yes, we do.
What patrols do you have on Christmas?
We have the new Chandler Fashion Mall that they just built out there. Huge complex. And along with 3 other posses, it takes that many people to patrol that mall day in and day out.
Now, what type of 3 other posses? What do you mean, a horse posse?
Well, no, we're actually a crime prevention posse. There's another crime prevention posse that assists us, and then the mall patrol, or the Mounted Patrol comes out there on occasion too, especially on the weekends, and it helps us out also. But we're able to cover the whole thing for day in and day out until it's over. And people are very appreciative of it too.
So these are one of the things that take a lot of time from those 30 people then too, isn't it?
Yes, it's extra duty, as we call it, extra duty, but our people are more than happy to do it. Just to go over there and people wave to you and stop you and say they really appreciate it. And just being a deterrent is one of the things that we're real proud of.
How do you recruit for posse members out there in Sun Lakes? What do you do for that? Anything in particular?
Well, we have a monthly paper that Mr. Robeson puts out called The Splash. We advertise in that for recruiting. And then we have, through our block watch program, we have an extensive block watch program out there, and we do get some members from them, and just word of mouth from one member to another. We'd like to have, 30 more, but you have to be realistic too about the amount of people off from.
Well, now, what about the Fountain Hills posse out there, Mitch? Do you have a pretty good group to draw from and recruit?
Yes, we do some advertising in the paper and a lot of word of mouth. We have a lot of, like I said, a lot of visibility, high visibility in the Fountain Hills area themselves, so that helps bring them in. We got some of the younger guys, they like to get on the, we have 2 bicycles also that are all rigged up with the bike. Yeah, we use those during the fair, and we have one of the deputies that also does bikes out there at times. But yeah, we've been pretty good at getting people that live close to the hills or in the hills themselves that come on board with us. Some live real close to the duty stations. We have all kinds of different breeds of character that come out there, from businessmen and all the way down to myself. I work for the United States Postal Service. But yeah, there's some real good people that are on board out there.
Well, now, as far as these patrols are concerned then, you have them year-round other than Christmas. But
we actually have them during December also.
You have
we don't deplete Fountain Hills of our units just to cover the mall patrol. We try to do both.
Yeah. And does it pay to have the armaments officers out there, the armed officers? Is that kind of a deterrent, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I try to schedule the armed officers during the times where they would be most needed, and the non-armed officers, the basic possemen, we get them for the house watch. We do a lot of house watches in Fountain Hills, so we have a lot of, I hate to use the term snowbird, but a lot of residents that leave for the summer and leave their residence empties, and they'll fill out an information card for us, and every day that the person goes on his shift, he gets out the cards out of the box, and they do all the patrols around these homes every day.
How many bicycle riders do you have?
Right now we have 3, I think. I know we have 2 for sure. We have Jack Sellers.
Are your bicycles equipped with lights?
Yes, they have everything, the first aid kit, the whole works.
They do?
Yes, they do.
So now, do you get those bicycles? Where do you get those? You buy them from certain
They
areas,
actually had
or?
those bikes when I signed on with the posse back in '96. I'm not sure where they picked those up from, but yeah, they're everything that has to do with law enforcement. There's some places you can go and pick that stuff up. Several of the cars that we just purchased from Sun City didn't have cages in them, and within 10 miles of my home, we were able to go pick up a cage to get put in the car so we can do the prisoner transports, which is very big out of Fountain Hills. We do transports out of the clubs in Scottsdale and out of Cave Creek area too, if we have to, if they don't have a King unit on out there. And sometimes we've done 7 jail wagons in one evening.
See, that saves our deputies and keeps them on the street. Because they transport the prisoner. Every other police department has to transport the prisoner to our jail. I have the volunteer posse to do that. So think of what the money we save and the deputy's time that we save. By the way, the Sun City West, Sun Lakes, your posse. Most of the posses do check the homes when people leave. They do house checks, which is very important for the public to see that their house is secure, keep it secure. So that's another great advantage that we use the posse for.
Well, now that's a service that goes to the people who are snowbirds then, right?
Correct. Anybody who leaves town for any period of time, even if somebody should have a death in the family and have to go back east for a few weeks, something like that, they can leave their information with us and we'll do the drive-bys and check their properties. And we've had a good record since I've been out there in '96. We've never had a house broken into.
Good. Joe, tell me about recruitment county-wise for the posse.
Well, we're always looking. I go to orientations. We're going to have an orientation again, usually once a month down in our training section. I go, talk to all the potential posse members. I hope I don't scare them away, but so try to get them to sign up. So we're always doing that. We have advertising in the papers, posses. We feel it's very cost efficient, you know, to hire posse people. I hire them, but they don't get paid. But, you know, it's a little risky sometimes. Any posse man that does something wrong, who you think is going to get the heat? The sheriff. Who's going to be sued? The sheriff. But you know what? I don't care, because it's a great program. And some of those critics out there, they say, see, we knew it. We've been waiting for 10 years for your posse to mess up. You know what I'm going to tell the camera? I apologize. We did something wrong. But you know what? We're going to double the posse. That's my answer to all these critics out here going against my posse. I'm already saying. By the way, we just mobilized the posse. We just sent them out across the county to arrest deadbeat parents on Mother's Day. On Mother's Day. But you know what? There's a little gimmick to this one, and I'm going to give everybody a clue. Remember the word. Remember the figure 52. 52, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, Joe, it's been a good show. We've enjoyed having you back, or being with us again today. And Mitch Vicus, correct? Vicus with the Mountain Hills Posse. And we are now showing that we have a little bit more time to go, so I don't have to hurry through these. Good to have you here today. And also from Sun Lakes, Training Officer Don Malloy, good to have you here.
Nice to be here.
We've had a good, anything that we want to bring up at the last minute here that you might want to talk about, that your particular posses are involved in or will be involved in?
Well, I just got a new member.
Good.
Her name's Joe Arpaio.
Oh, my wife. By the way, she's a colonel, you know.
Okay.
It took me 10 years, and she used to start my car every morning, you know. And I do have a bomb that was in my... Anyway. I won't get into that. It's in court right now.
Okay. It's been Eye to Eye with Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I'm Lynn Reed, and thanks a lot for watching our program here and being on it. And remember, think about the posse when you think about protection in your own area. So long for now.